Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to talk to you about. No, this is so like formal. The reason why is that in our interpreting classes, if you don't start your speeches with these, it would mean minus 10 points stat. So I kind of wanted it to become my habit, and now I can't really get rid of that. So I will always probably start any speech with this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, moving on, because I really have a hard time concentrating or something. Okay, so today I'd like to talk to you about how I design characters, like what I do, stuff I change along the way, maybe little tips and tricks in case you already don't know, and I think that's it. And also where we can find our inspirations and some exercises maybe. So let's start. When I design my characters, I usually change one of the variables. I know this sounds like I don't know, science stuff maybe, but it's good that we have some limitations when we design our characters. It's also good when we keep something, when we focus on something, we don't change that something and change other stuff. That also gives us some more areas when it comes to our creativity. For example, what do I mean by that? I mean that if you change everything all at once, it's just chaos. For example, I did here was to keep the star in this man's forehead like stable. Like I didn't change it for some models. What I changed was their hairstyles and their facial features. And then I changed the star, but this time I kept the hairstyle. I changed the star and then kept the hairstyle. So my first advice is don't change everything at once. When you make a character, put that character on the paper and take their one feature and change it while keeping the others there. It might help you improve the other areas. So I think it would be my first advice, because some limitations do encourage our creativity. And also what I did here was to make 2, 4, 6 versions of the same character. It's important because I'm gonna use this character in one of my stories, and it's good to see that the character, how they look, the vibes they give matches the story, matches the character that you create in your story. So I changed crowns, I changed stars, even facial expressions and hairstyle, because it really affects, it really changes how we see the character. I wanted him to be stoic, intimidating, but also like godlike, inapproachable. I think this is the right adjective. I don't know. I'm not really sure anything. I'm not really sure about anything right now. I'm just moving on. So I added crowns. I just take off the clowns, add the simple line, change the star. But again, in everything, I kept one thing stable. Like I didn't change one thing. This character, I decided that he will have no pupils, because it gives a mystic air. It's of course my justification of that vibe. You can do anything you like actually, and simply these decisions are sometimes, are aesthetic choices, and there's nothing wrong with them. As long as all in all they look good. And also my other advice would be that taking notes. When you, for example, when you do your first design, a first version of your character, I encourage you to take notes. Just when you do that character, when you finish designing that character, just put your pen down and look at it one more time. Not while you're drawing, but after you drew it. because it will make you see some of the things that you may not like after the drawing is done. For example, in the first one I wrote too young on one of my versions, and then on the second one I made him a little older, and then I didn't like the star in the second one, and the other one I changed the star. So maybe taking notes would be good. And if you're not really confident about your drawing, and maybe if you're afraid that your drawing, that your sketch will not really give the same vibe it does when you turn back and look at it one more time, again, taking notes would be an amazing stuff to do. For example, in the first one I wrote Eris-like. I mean, this is a note I would understand in the future, because I know what I'm talking about here. Eris was the character, like the most amazing character design I've ever seen. In the cartoon movie Sinbad, The Legend of Seven Seas, and I wrote, I took a note here. I wrote Eris-like hair, and it will give me the idea that once while I was drawing this character, I wanted his hair to look like Eris, you know. And also, if you don't really want to draw all over again, for example, when you change a little something but not really an important thing in that version, you can just take notes. For example, I didn't really want to draw all the versions in my head to draw crowns, so I said maybe both star and crown, maybe not only star but also a simple crown, or maybe a very full-blown, so detailed crown and a simple star. I mean, you can just maybe write it down. It's not always necessary to draw everything, just notes sometimes do us good. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about was that where and how we can get inspiration. So this is actually not my original character. All in all, I started with the idea that there is this God, and there is this God. This is not my character. I just imagined him in other ways. The character I'm trying to design was an actual god from Turkish mythology. He was like supreme god, like the god of the gods. So if it makes sense, the most powerful god, let's say. His name was Ülgen, and this is not at all how they described in books. But then, I don't want my comics to, a reliable source of history or mythology. I just want him to be a character in my book. And it's my opinion, but I think it's okay, because it's our imagination. It's going to be our story, our character. So we can just take the base and design it. I think there is nothing wrong with that. So I took that and actually took the vibe he gave. He gave me that stoic, inapproachable, all in all an intimidating and powerful god. And I just took these emotions and drew the character based on these emotions that he gives. So as I said, you can take the base of somewhere else and change it. You can play with the design. You can play with it like there is no tomorrow, because it is going to be your character. What I did here was that I just took the god, the character, and added stuff. Of course, there is no star on his forehead. He doesn't wear a crown, because authors didn't wear crowns. We were just wearing like helmets and other stuff like that. But crown is more like Western thing. But I wanted him to wear that because it looks good, just for aesthetic reasons, really. And the other thing I could tell you as a tip from one fellow artist to another is that what are the things you most like? Just think about it and then put them in your drawings in some way. For example, I really adore how stars look. There are millions of ways to draw stars. Maybe just simple circles, maybe just like 5 pointed shape thingy stuff, like the usual star, or maybe you can even change the shape of the star. It's all up to you. This is your world. You can create it however you want. The only thing stopping you is your conscience. Because if this God is real, I'm sure I'm fucked up. But moving on, as I'm saying, this is really up to you. And so anyway, as I said, I love stars and I always try to use them in my drawings. And here I use it as well. I put the star on his forehead and it will be like glowing, I think, along with his eyes. Kind of Avatar-like actually, because it is kind of scary and I think it would look cool. And as I said, crowns, I really like crowns, and I added that too. And also furs like in clothing. I mean, this is maybe the only realistic part that I kept from the mythology, and I added that. I mean, of course, God can like control the weather, make the weather hot or cold, colder or hotter. But I really like designing clothes. I love making them so detailed. And I said to myself, okay, let's do this. Let's give this man the most amazing clothing he can ever want, he could ever have. And I did that. And there is no one that can stop us from doing that. So all in all, this is going to be a weird video, but I hope it helps you in some way. It was really fun to do that. I mean, when you throw away everything, when you throw away the rules and stuff, it really gives you a chance to explore what lies in your head. So, as I've been saying, throw away the rules but make some limitations and go all creative.